And we're live. It's Whiskey Watches the Wheels and back for another one. It's been a couple weeks. Fellas, how you doing?
Oh, fantastic.
Good stuff. Happy to be here.
Awesome, man. You know, I'm going to kick this off with a rant. Can I rant for a minute?
Yes,
I've
been waiting for these stories to come.
I have a good rant, and it really. First of all, I hate dealerships. I can't stand dealerships. I think I've talked this before. My wife, other than the Porsche, we're a Hyundai family. My wife has a Sonata, my daughter has an Accent, and my son has an Elantra. And they're great products for the price point, and you get a lot out of them. And so we still have my wife's car serviced at the dealership because she has an extended warranty, and 9 times out of 10, shit's covered. So she made an appointment to drop the car off on Saturday, which we promptly did, dropped it off. You know, that's another thing. I miss the days when you could go down and just get there 7 o'clock in the morning, walk in, say, hey, I'm going to muddle around the car lot, kick some tires, whatever. And an hour later, you're done and you go home. Now It's like you got to make an appointment. You got to drop it off. They might get it done that day. They might not get it done that day. You never know. You know. So anyway, we drop it off. We leave. They call us up and say, hey, you have a torn axle boot. Good news. That's covered under the warranty. Okay, great. Fix that. And then she texts me and she goes, hey, your tires are really bad. You're going to need new tires. And I said, okay. I said, well, you got any deals or whatever, you know? And she gave me a good deal. I got, 4 Pirelli P0s for like $600. All right. Yeah, exactly. I was really surprised. It was like $640 for 4 of them, and mounted balance, the whole works. And then she says, so it's going to be $640 for the 4 tires, mounted balanced, and it's $800 including an alignment. And so I immediately text her back, and I'm like, okay, yeah, do it all. Simple enough. Call us later that day and say, hey, your car's ready. Okay. So I take Stacy down there. So we leave, and she calls me from her car, and she goes, hey, the bill was cheaper. I said, why was the bill? She goes, she must give us some sort of discount. I said, why? What was the bill? She goes, it was like $700. And I'm like, well, that don't make sense because it was going to be $800 for the tires and the all that stuff. And then it's still $100 for the oil change. Yeah, it should have been like $1,000. So I said, all right. I said, you sure like the alignment was on the paperwork, right? She goes, yeah, no, I saw it on the paperwork. So, okay, great.
Is it your car?
Yeah, exactly. So Sunday, we go drop off the 911 to have actually we go drop my Durango off at the detailer shop so that Monday I could get it when I dropped the 911. And so we're coming back, and so I'm driving her car, and I said, are you sure the paperwork said an alignment was done? She goes, yeah. And I said, and I'm driving, and her steering wheel's like this, like cockeyed, right? I'm like, Stacy, your steering wheel's like 20 degrees off. I said, it's not, there's no way they did an alignment. And if they did a really shitty alignment. And so she pulls out the paperwork and she's reading, and she goes, oh, it says alignment recommended. I said, motherfucker. I said, I told her to do the alignment. Who's going to buy 4 brand new tires and not get an alignment done? So then we have to drive.
Hyundai owners.
Right. So then we have to drive to like, right. Maybe so. So then we drive to like Tires Plus by my house. I said, well, I'm not going all the way back out to Sanford to get an alignment. We'll go to Tires Plus or whatever, but then again, drop it off with them, leave, have to come back that afternoon. I'm like, why can't, I don't get it, man, dude. I even said clearly in the text message, just do it all.
Yeah.
So anyway, that's my rant. I love dealerships. Actually, I don't love dealerships. I don't know, dude. I don't know what I love anymore. So anyway, it's frustrating.
I'm there with you. The last time we had, my car was the last time to go to the dealer for the CPO stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like a 2 or 3 day exchange every single time.
Yeah.
It takes them a day to look at it, a day to order parts, a day to do the work.
Right.
And then God knows, like our dealer is 30 minutes away, like across the river. So it's not easy for Ashley and I to like get there and do the car exchange, get to work, who's going to pick me up, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
It is annoying.
And not every dealership, some dealerships have courtesy cars, but the majority of them don't, and you're usually good for maybe a year or 2 on a courtesy car. But if you got a car that's like 5 or 6 years old, even if it's got an extended warranty, they ain't giving you a courtesy car.
Well, the Porsche dealer give you one, but to schedule that service, it's like 8 weeks out. Like it's way out in advance.
It's ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. So anyway, that was my Saturday and Sunday. Tied up 2 days but it's all good. I know I sent you all the pictures, man. Dude, the 911 looks sweet. God, it looks so good.
It's like a new
great.
car.
It is like a new car, man. The wrap's off and everything was paint corrected and ceramic coated today. I was telling Casey, I was telling George before you hopped on, I couldn't have timed it any worse. So in Florida, we have love bugs. And it literally started today, like love bug season. I was driving home and they started hitting the windshield. I'm like, I'm going to pick this up tomorrow morning, drive it to work, and be driving it home and just destroyed. Yeah. I mean, at least I have ceramic coating on it now, but I mean, just bugs everywhere. But
that's what I was going to say. Right? You have the paint protected at least, right?
It is protected. Yep, it's good.
Got to look at it from that.
Absolutely.
This is a large deviation from what we usually do, but I'm going to look it up right now. There's a product that I've been using on my car for bugs since I get so many bugs. Let me search this real quick.
Yes, please do.
And you spray it on and you let it sit there for maybe 10, 15 minutes. 3D bug remover.
Okay.
It's got some enzyme in it that whatever it does, it really attacks bug splatter and really makes the removal significantly easier, especially on like the rearview mirrors, you know, like where it's harder to get your hand in there, blah, blah, blah. But that stuff, spraying that on there, letting it sit while you're like doing the wheels or whatever, and then come back, spray it off and then wash. It really works well. It's called 3D bug remover. I think it's like a 3M product or something, but it actually works really well.
Well, that's what I was telling George. Love bugs. I mean, luckily we only have them for like 2 weeks in the summer or 2 weeks in the spring and 2 weeks in the fall. But the innards, whatever juices got in them, you know, the juicy juice is like acidic. It'll eat straight through the paint, man. And so people will go through and leave them on there for weeks, and they go to wipe them off, and literally they're missing paint. So you can't mess around with those. You got to clean it off every night.
Well, they only have 2 weeks to make it work, so it's got to be high octane stuff.
Dude, it's whatever. Yeah, and the funny thing is the urban myth around them. I mean, you'll hear everything from there was some sort of experiment by the University of Florida back in the 70s to eat mosquitoes. You'll hear all kinds of weird stuff on who knows how they actually came about. But
I will tell you, if you have a nice power washer station like I do at the garage, it really makes getting all that stuff set up so much easier than having to drag out the power washer and the hose and the gun and whatever.
I want to
make those afternoon sprays like super easy.
I want
do you filter
a setup
like the water that goes into your power wash station?
Do I say that again?
Do you filter it all, or like to make it more spot free? Okay, no, I've seen some people do that.
I would like to do that, but I'm using it like that side of the garage is basically the garage and maybe 1.5 feet on each side before it turns 90 degrees, and I don't really have a spot that I figured that I could really make it look like. I'm sure it already looks redneck, but make it look less redneck. And so no. But to be completely honest, when I tried like you're supposed to, not in direct sunlight, but with the black car, any sunlight makes it hot. So I just keep the spray in my hand and like try to really keep it cool, and then come around with the leaf blower and blow off.
I'm surprised, and maybe they do have it. I haven't seen it. With as advanced as the battery technology has gotten for like drills and I mean, all of your lawn equipment now is battery. They haven't come up with like a, drill size or whatever, pressure wand that runs off a battery, hook your hose to it to increase the pressure.
I think because you're still using physics and you still need a mechanical pump. Yeah. And I don't think though that something that in that size is going to have enough pump to give you any appreciable amount of power or conversely flow. And I personally think flow is more important on washing your car. You can get 1700 PSI, but you're only getting, a gallon a minute. Right. It's just not enough water.
Well, the reason I say that is because, so believe it or not, of all people, Armor All actually has, and it looks like a regular, sprayer you go on the end of a pressure washer with the chamber that holds the soap and everything, and they have them that just goes to your garden hose, and it does actually I have one, and it does a fairly decent job at for a foam cannon that's going to go on a garden hose. It actually does a fairly good job. But I'm thinking, okay, if this thing had just a battery to increase that pressure, it would do so much better. And maybe there is one out there. I don't know. For me, I have a gas-powered pressure washer, so to go out and buy another electric pressure washer and all that stuff, I just can't afford. Not afford. I can't justify the expense, I guess. But
yeah, you just got to make assured with your gas stuff that you're really opening up the orifice on your spray. So I
don't use the gas one. I use for my driveway and fence and all that. I don't use it for the cars. Yeah. I would never go on the cars.
From what I've learned, you really don't want to go over about 1,000 psi in pressure. Supposedly, if you spray your hand and it hurts, that's too close. So you kind of can judge your distance and to your paint or whatever.
All right, Matt Mormon, get on it, buddy. Come on. We need a battery-powered pressure washer. Get on it.
But George, more to your point about the spotless stuff, I haven't really felt like the water has the spotting issues. Now this is, so maybe it's relatively soft, but I will say I haven't had a black car in a long time, so I'm worried about it and paying attention to it.
That's the problem we have in Florida, is that unless you're out there at 6 a.m. washing your cars, or 6 p.m. or 7 o'clock, actually this time of year, it's going to be almost 8:30. Mm-hmm. It's so hot that the shit dries faster than you can even, you're constantly trying to hose it down, and the shit's drying faster than you can even wash the car.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, if I was down there, I would probably have a CR spotless or whatever equivalent. Yeah. Just for that reason, for sure.
Yeah, I go through and I wash it all down and hose it down again, and then I just pull it in the garage and blow it off in there.
Go out for a really fast drive.
Mm-hmm. That'll do it.
That'll do it.
Grandma got a speeding ticket one time, and the cop goes, "Why are you driving so fast?" She goes, "Trying to dry off the car. I just put it in the car wash."
Hey, all kidding aside, even after when I'm done fully detailing my car, dried it off, everything's good to go, everything, I do go on a quick little drive for like maybe a mile, because if not, if I leave the car there after I've detailed it, and you get all the rust on the rotors and everything, and then I
immediately ruin your wheels.
Right. Yeah. Well, and then if I go to just the next morning or whenever I go to put it in reverse or whatever, you get this clunk. I mean, it's like they're almost seized, Yeah. And I just take it for a quick mile and burn all that off. That way I don't have that problem. So. What do y'all want to talk about tonight? I mean, we have some topics that we threw up and everything, but I didn't know if that's what we want to stick to, or you guys got anything hot and pressing or whatever.
I got nothing hot and pressing.
We put that in the group chat, right? But there's the GT3 Cab.
Well, this is true. Yeah, we haven't had an episode since that was announced, and man, listen. Okay, other than the fact that. And I'm not a cab hater. Actually, the older I get, the more I appreciate cabs. And honestly, being a Floridian, I should like them probably more than I do, because this is the place you want a convertible. All right. And so I can just hearing the engine note with the top down would be awesome. But that's about as far awesome as I can think. I mean, why spend the money on a GT3 for the cab? I don't get it. Because even if I owned it, I'm not going to track it. I'm not going to track a convertible. Although I think that they're smart enough to probably make it pretty rigid.
So Chris Harris had the first video out about it, as far as I know, and he explicitly says, "I can't tell a difference." Now, Chris Harris is a phenomenal driver, but it was also paid for by Porsche,
of course.
So I think there's a little bit of a grain of salt, but I also think his integrity is such, from the books I've read and or his own autobiography, but that he's probably telling the truth. And let's be honest, 99.9% of the people are not going to be able to tell you the difference anyway, even if there was rigidity issues.
And also don't take their regular GT3s to the track either.
Right. Well, and that's what I was going to say that just now, is that, if you look at the amount of GT3s, the GT3s today weren't like necessarily the GT3 of the 996 or 997 era. I mean,
Correct.
now there's no limit to them. They freaking sell them as fast as they can make them. So because of that, I don't know that the vast majority of GT3 owners are actually tracking their cars anyway.
No, we know that's the case,
Yeah.
right? We drive our cars. We meet some of these people. I'm sure I'm going to meet them this weekend. But like these vehicles, as focused and designed focused as they are, we know that they don't hit the track. They barely hit 4,500 RPMs on their way to Cars and Coffee or the golf course or whatever wine chalet they're at this weekend. And that's the reality of it is. Porsche, I'm sure, knows that, right? They know their customer because they've been producing these cars. They know who their buyers are. And, as much as I don't like it, and I think it's a very confused vehicle, it's probably going to sell. And it's probably going to sell well. And going through a tunnel with the top down and hearing that engine, I would love to do it. But I would not purchase the car. Yes. Hearing it ricochet off the mountainside. Like, you're right, George. I would love that, but it's not the car for me.
No, I mean, so playing devil's advocate, now that I think about it a little more, if most of the guys that have the money to afford this can probably afford as many cars as they want. But if space is an issue or whatever, and they want a convertible, but they still want a GT3 or they want something with a lot of balls, it's killing two birds with one stone.
If they actually track it, they have a cup car. And then they have a GT3 Cab for their street car. How awesome is that?
Yeah,
no
best
doubt.
of both worlds, right? I mean, and you're right. If this buyer probably doesn't own just one, as most GT3 car owners are, right? It's not their only one, and they can afford to have the odd thing.
Yeah.
But I do think it's a very confused car. If we look at just the vehicle itself, I think it's confused. I love that it's manual. I don't like the name, the SC. Like, I think that's a weird naming thing. I really don't like that it's even GT3. I think that they could have named it something else. But end of the day, we know GT3 name sells, and they're going to get a shitload of money for these things. They're going to sell every one that they can produce. And for a 70-year-old that wants to clap their money, go for it. Make Porsche money. Yeah, make Porsche money so they can keep making cars that one day I will be able to afford. Maybe.
No doubt. Yeah.
If I win the lottery.
Right. So just take it deeper, right? What are your guys' thoughts of, let's say, the last Speedster, which is a 991, right?
I mean, I like the Speedster. I think it's cool. I think it's so.
It's
Was the top
formula.
is the 911 Speedster? Is the top as a pain in the ass like it is the
top? So it's
the top of it? Okay.
Spider. It's just the bubbles in the back, so there is no option to cover it.
Yeah.
On the Speedster, right? So this one, obviously, right? They could have gone with like maybe a Spider top or a Speedster, right? But like what I've also read and heard like people talk about is also the homologation. So it was about a weight thing. They had to keep the weight under, right? The touring, so they didn't have to do certain tests, right? So it was about being able to come to market, and right, and doing a Speedster, right? You would have done that, right? The formula that people are used to or maybe expecting, but it would have come to market a year later, right?
True.
And then also, right, he's gotten customer feedback, right? That, hey, like, okay, Speedster's cool. We all love it. We all think and know it's cooler, but it's also maybe not as convenient, right? If we're being real with ourselves. So here you go. You get this one, right? Comes to market faster and cheaper, and it's not limited, and it's more convenient. Like, I don't blame them.
I don't disagree with you at all, George. I think that's 100% what they were thinking, and it makes sense to me. If I'm working on that marketing team, like I'm going with it. But to your point, Matt, I'm not a Speedster guy. I don't. I have to say this almost tongue in cheek because like the Carrera GT top comes off, right? The what is it, the 918 top comes off, but like those are, I think the chassis of those are different and dedicated in a certain way. But like I think that these incredible, what I'll call supercars, 911 is not a supercar, but like supercar is different. So this 911 sports car, I want a focused vehicle. I buy a 911 to do a very focused, sport-oriented thing. And to me, making that convertible is just confusing on what the vehicle's intended to do. But again, the market is huge, and I'm obviously in the minority.
And they offer each of those flavors, right? They
correct.
have GT3 with the wing. They have the GT3 Touring, right? That's no wing and manual. And then they have this, right? Which is just convertible touring.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I can't think of another model under a brand that has as many variations as the 911 does today. I mean, if you think about it, the 911, it's Porsche's only car at the moment because the Boxster and Cayman are dead for the moment. So literally you have everything from the base to the S to the GTS to the GT3, the GT3 Touring. Now you have the GT3 Cab. You got all these different variants, and there's a flavor for everybody.
Yeah, and that's why we love it, right? It'll do anything and everything. You can tour with it. When I had it, I toured with mine. I took it to the mountains. I took it to the track. I drove it to the grocery store. It could do everything. Mm-hmm. The convertible, it does one less thing of that massive laundry list of things it can do. And that's a maybe, right? Because it may still be able to get on track some places. Yep. So maybe it still does everything and the top goes down. I'm just not a convertible guy outside of Miata. I like the Boxster. But to me, a sports car is a coupe, and you take it to the track.
And I think traditionally it was the opposite. Traditionally, right? The definition of
the classics,
actually a convertible.
The classics for sure.
You look at everything, all the classic stuff, Triumphs, MGs, everything. They're all convertibles, dude. Every single one of them.
And funny enough, I like the classics. I like all those. I've owned 4 or 5 Miata, so I get that. I guess in the modern car era, I think that for me it flipped.
Yeah. Well, while we're talking about Porsche, this is in the news, and I find it surprising, but I don't find it surprising. They're walking away, dude. They're walking away from Bugatti and Rimac. They're gone. Yeah, they're. I mean, I don't know if it's I think they bought in initially because EV was the way things were going to go, and they needed that technology. And now that they're backtracking,
right?
Yeah,
battery technology also, right? And maybe, obviously we know they're getting hit hard, right? So they're like, hey, how can we make up this gap? And maybe they see.
Well, and it's a lot of money, man. I didn't realize, I was reading this article, that they owned as much of. I mean, I knew they owned the majority of Bugatti, but I didn't realize that Rimac. I've heard Rimac or Rimac, whatever. But anyway, I didn't realize that they had, in essence, merged. They're one company now. So it says Porsche's involvement with Bugatti, Rimac, and Rimac Group. They're divesting from both brands, but they held a 45% stake in Bugatti and another 20% in the Rimac Group. So they're walking away from both of that.
Well, do you know who the leader of Bugatti is? Who's running that company?
Well, it's the guy Rimac, Matt Rimac. Yeah, he's the CEO.
Yep.
Yeah. So like I said, I didn't realize that Bugatti and them had, in essence, merged. So the only thing I'm concerned about, not concerned, I'm not a Bugatti buyer. I appreciate them for what they are and the technology and what they've given to the car world. But anytime I see that, things are going to get purchased and owned by an investment group, it just never goes well. But
typically,
we'll see.
You're right. I think I find it interesting. Maybe you all do as well. Do you think it's Matt Armstrong's fault?
What?
I'm being facetious because I'm being totally facetious. I saw that floating on the interwebs and I thought that was funny. But Bugatti creates amazing looking vehicles. Their technology of how much horsepower they can get out of these things is obviously phenomenal. I am not one that has aspirations to that vehicle. I think for me, that's too far out there, and maybe I'm old enough to know that I'm never going to get there, and so my sights aren't set on those sort of things. I do think that the YouTuber world is into those cars, and so people younger than us that really are, their only TV audience or TV watching is via YouTube and such. I think that those cars are still like they're aspirational vehicles. Of maybe buying a crashed one and fixing it, or whatever, becoming a vlogger, and that's what you get to do, and that's what you get to buy. But amazing vehicles, not really on my radar. I don't fucking care. I think it's cool to see these things now being worked on in garages because that is more my style. If this divestition, is that the right phrase, allows Porsche to be more profitable and they can build cars that I actually want and could buy, I'm all for it.
Yeah, you mentioned profit, and I didn't realize this. I mean, we all know that Porsche's been on the ropes here for a while. And I was reading this article, and it says, just last month, Porsche announced that its operating profit fell by 92.7% due to the cost of shifting its electric vehicle strategy, with the company's accounts taking a 3.9 billion euro hit. So
but we've talked about this. Like we knew that was coming. They've even been putting that out there, right? We've seen those articles that their profitability has dropped, significantly in the 90%.
And they're not the only ones. It's a whole industry.
No.
Add to the list. They're not even like top 5 losers.
No.
So it's an industry.
This is going to be, for Porsche, this is a good thing. Not necessarily a good thing for Rimac and Bugatti, but for Porsche, they're going to, it's going to be a massive influx of cash, which they can definitely use.
Yeah, maybe this is a way that they, I know that their laws are different regarding their workforce and stuff. So maybe this is how they can keep their workforce afloat and keep models being produced while we kind of get through this weird, I'm going to call it weird because I think it's weird, but this weird time of rapidly changing EPA standards or no standards, electrification, no electrification. We know that the U.S. market does not as a whole want electric vehicles. And I don't think the EU, and you all can correct me if I'm wrong, I don't think the EU is really pulled away from those standards that are coming. But obviously the U.S. has completely shut them down. And we know that the U.S. is Porsche's largest market.
It's funny though. God, I love us as Americans, but we are so bipolar, or ADD or whatever, because we say we want one thing and then we go that way, and then we don't want that and we go the opposite direction, and then something happens and then we go right back the other way. So now that gas prices are going through the roof again and getting bananas, there's an article that gas prices just flipped the EV market. Hyundai sales jumped 40%. In their EV models, because now everyone's trying to run to EVs because of the gas prices.
I know that we don't dive too deep into politics. No, but I will say that like that's one of the things that this country is actually great for, is you can be a rubber band and you can change your mind on an instant. And the beauty of capitalism is to create markets and to absorb that expansion contraction of ideas and mentalities and shifts in the market. And were we to have actual true open markets and capitalism, I don't believe that you would see such large shifts in quote unquote demand and supply. You would have a more normal market, that you would see normal market trends, increases, decreases, and all these changes would be expanded instead of 2 years of flipping from, we're going all EV, oh no, now all electric. You wouldn't have that. You would have these in let's just use cars as our example on this, but like you wouldn't see the V8 completely go away, and now the V8 completely coming back in all the domestic made vehicles, right?
Right.
Like you wouldn't see Porsche go from, killing two models and including a third and fourth being the Macan and Cayenne as totally electric models. You would see them keep these parallel paths and judge the market, interpret the market, increase here, decrease here, and judge things. And I wish it'll never happen. I'm just an idealistic person at this point, but I wish that we could have true market reaction and true capitalism to these sort of influences rather than knee-jerk reactions and government mandates.
Yeah, I don't disagree with you. I do want to give Autoblog credit because I'm reading their article, and it says the U.S. electric vehicle market has had a rough stretch. Federal EV tax credits disappeared. Supportive policies were rolled back. Overall EV sales dropped by 27% in the first quarter 26. Then the conflict hit Iran. Geopolitical tensions pushed oil prices higher. Now Hyundai has announced that between February and March, their EV sales has grown by 40%. So
yeah,
there you go.
I think that's wild to have such a swing. And you're right. Americans are last minute decision makers on a whole. And you can look at this market, I think, as a reflection.
And I also think you can make data say whatever you want.
Absolutely.
So it's 100% to last month, which is their
right.
all-time low of the last how many years?
Right.
Well,
exactly.
Let's compare it to last year. It's probably lower.
Oh yeah, no doubt. No doubt.
Yeah,
you're right.
Anything can be skewed.
When you need that headline to maybe produce more market movement,
to influence other people towards that way, that's what you're doing.
100%, George. Yeah.
George, I saw you hold something up while I was talking. We didn't even do our wristwatch check-in. What's in the cup, man? I didn't think about that. I'm rusty, man. I haven't been here in 3 weeks, so I just,
I'm trying to get that glare away.
So what do you got? Evan Williams.
So that's a new label.
Yeah, it's pretty close, but it is maybe a little bit fancier than the other one.
Yeah, but it's the same stuff, yeah?
Same stuff.
Yeah, because ours that we get here has a green, instead of that silver stripe, it's a green stripe.
But it's still 100 proof. It's the same juice.
Yep, it's still bottle and bond. Yeah.
Yeah, this is good stuff. This is for the
$17.99, baby.
Oh, it's fantastic. I actually had this at my wedding. This is my choice of what I bought in bulk to serve.
Is it really?
Yeah.
I love it. I'm sure we told this story before, but the first time going to Farron, we were sitting around having bourbon, and that's the bourbon I bring. And I'm like, listen, motherfuckers, drink it before you bash it. You're just seeing Evan Williams.
Yeah.
I'm like, no, you sit here and drink this. And everyone around, we had, there was E.H. Taylor. I brought that. And everyone was like, you know what? This is good.
It is.
It's really freaking good when you're like, oh, this was $18.
Yeah, it's a third of the price of your bottle. Yeah.
Dude, value for money, man. That's all it is.
So, everything's relative, right? So, yeah, value. It's on the list.
Casey, what are you drinking, buddy? What is that?
Saratoga water now.
Okay.
But I had an old fashioned with one of my favorites, Pikesville rye. And I was using the Turkish tobacco bitters, which I think I talked about on here.
You did, yeah.
Yeah. I really enjoy those bitters. It's a little bit different flavor, but it's really good bitter.
Cool. Well, I'm just drinking Diet Sprite. I'm boring. You guys watching? Wearing a special watch or anything?
No, not special. I think I've had it on here, but it's my Sheffield SCR edition, the gray.
Mm-hmm.
So automatic, right, with the Seiko, right, automatic movement. Then I got the
very nice,
the whatever you want to call it, the James Bond, right, NADA wristband, 007.
You
Casey,
have a different name for that? What would you?
What 007?
You just call it
007? Yeah, no, actually, and that's I've never gotten an actual 007 band for my Omega, and I want to get one. So every time I look at that, I
have this one with the just the gray and black, and then I have one that's gray or black with the gray stripes, but then it has a navy center, and also that one as well.
Yeah.
Sorry, Casey, I cut you off.
You're fine. We haven't done the podcast for a bit, so I was wearing a different watch, and nobody will believe me, but we haven't been on here for a couple weeks. And
we haven't.
But today I'm just wearing, I think it's a turtle. So
Okay.
you all know I'm boring. But I will say, I'm going to pick up another SKX 007, the black one. And I want it to be beat up because I really want to not worry about it, and put it on like a Velcro band. I want to and just use that as like my outdoorsy hunting, like beat around in the garage, truly not worry about it. But I just love that like model so much. That's what I'd like it to be.
Well, why a Velcro band instead of just like a NATO?
So I have NATO on a couple, but for whatever reason, and maybe I don't know if I expand and contract too much during the day, but even in the NATO, that single spot that I always put my watch in starts to wear out. And like it starts to oval, and then I don't know. No reason, George. I don't know.
I'm just looking for some insight.
No, I just I don't mind the Velcro, but I guess I'm truly looking at maybe if I'm wearing thermal underwear or whatever, thinking like later in this fall it'll go over that easy, and I don't know.
It's funny you mentioned that because I need to get probably at some point. Well, first of all, I've been selling watches, so I mean I've been liquidating. I sold 4 of my Seikos, and I got a 5th one up now. And so I've been thinning the herd, things that I wasn't really wearing. But I do love my 009. And I'm having issues with it again. I thought it was magnetized again. It keeps. I mean, in 24 hours, it'll gain 5 minutes. I mean, it's going really fast.
You're gonna take it apart, man. You know how to do it now.
That's the thing. So I went through and I had bought the cheap demagnetizer, and literally, it's like trying to rub your belly and pat your head and everything all at the same time. It's a pain in the ass. So I said, you know what? Screw this. It was like $16, whatever. I'm gonna buy $6. I'm going to buy the professional one. Literally, it's one and done. The big box. You set it down. You just push the button. Done. It was magnetized because it was setting the compass off. So, okay, so got it done. Demagnetized, no problem. It's still fast. So cracked open the back the other day to see if it had any oil built up or any servicing and everything. It looked okay. So then I thought, well, maybe I just need to adjust the timing on it. But before I did that, I put it on my time grapher. Well, on the time grapher, you're supposed to get a nice little crisp line. Sometimes it may go diagonal or whatever, but
parallel lines.
Parallels, right? Parallel lines, right? Dude, it's like static. It's like snow. It's fucking just everywhere. Like it's crazy. I mean, honestly, it's giving the same reading as they typically do when they are magnetized, but it's not magnetized. So I don't know what's going on with it. It's beyond
your knowledge right now.
Well, I've thought about, okay, listen, if I'm going to have a guinea pig, maybe I'll go ahead and just completely take apart the entire movement, and
demagnetize it.
So, and see if I can actually, because what I found out was, so I still have it on my desk. So even though before I demagnetized the watch, but the pins were staying magnetized. So so that was throwing it off as well. So, but I took it all apart. Demagnetized. There's no magnetic current.
May I ask a question?
Yeah.
Did you take the actual movement out and demagnetize that, and the case out?
I did.
Okay.
Yeah, I removed the entire movement out of the case.
Because I would guess that it's probably, now again, you are way deeper in this to me than I am, but I would think either the balance wheel, right?
Yep.
That would be getting magnetized. That would significantly change the timing, right?
Right. So I thought the same thing. So literally I took the back off. I pulled the crown out, removed the entire movement, hit that, actually went through, demagnetized the back of it. Then I got a couple like little erasers because I didn't want to take the hands off and all that. So then I flipped it over, used those so that the hands wouldn't, be sitting down, demagnetized from the front side as well. To make sure, and checked just the movement on with the compass, no movement whatsoever. So I'm like, all right, so everything's good. Put on the time grapher, and still static. I'm like, what? So I don't get it. I thought about maybe just sending it to Seiko and having it reconditioned, but then I'm like, I can do that, but the reality is it's going to cost. I mean, it's a double O.
What movement be?
Oh, that's the problem. So the movements in these, it's not like the newer movements. I mean, you can get one, but it's almost the cost of a watch.
Yeah.
To get the actual movement because they're so old. So
Dude, I would send it in and see,
Yeah.
learn something, and maybe they'll tell you explicitly what it was. I don't know if they will or not, but like,
Yeah.
and maybe next time that happens to any of us, that you can be like, oh, I
Yeah.
got something for you.
Because I was almost to the point. I'm like, you know what? If I'm going to do, let me just take this damn thing apart. I'm going to take everything apart, all the screws, the entire movement, and one of two things is going to happen. I'm either going to learn to put it back together,
Weekend
or
Wristwatch Revival takes it apart all the time. You could watch it and get it back together.
Yeah. So I'm like, either it's either going to come apart or it's not going to go back together. One of two things is going to happen.
But either way, it doesn't work. So
this is true. It does not work. I mean, it works to an extent, but not really. Not really. I mean,
it's a watch to keep time, and it doesn't.
Yeah, I mean, if I'm going to wear it,
there are some people that literally don't even set their watches and just wear them as jewelry.
Kevin,
this is true.
I have a wrong. He's that way. Watches. I go, hey, you interested in these? And I was like, hey, these, like, I think one of them was a quartz. I go, this one needs a new battery, but I'm giving it to you, right? And he goes, oh, I'm not worried about it. I don't set the time anyway. And I look at him like, what?
Unreal. Well, and this is a real first world problem, but the reality is, it's been like this probably for a while, and I just never noticed it because of the fact that I very rarely wear the same watch 2 days in a row.
Yeah.
So I constantly change it out, so I don't really notice it very much.
This is why, I don't have the collection that you all have, but like that I'm wearing my watch for 2 weeks in a row is because what I've read, what I've understood is keeping a winder is not positive, but also not allowing them to move is not positive. So wearing it 2 weeks in a row, it gets a good workout. It gets fully charged. It'll get fully discharged.
Like anything mechanical, like a car.
Yeah. You use it, 100%. And I think that honestly, all kidding aside, some watches you can put on a winder, and some you can't, or you're not supposed to. It's not good for them. Seiko being one of them. And of course, that was, I got this at the very beginning of my automatic game, and I didn't know a lot back then. I know much more now than I did. And I had this on a winder for probably 2 years, and I'm sure that's what did the damage to it. Whatever's going on, I'm sure the winder is what caused it. But
I wonder why, like, what's different about the Seikos where they're susceptible to that versus other brands? Like, what's different?
I don't know. I don't know. I know that, winders are great for what they are. At the same time, there's
what
not polarity, but
what brands claim that an automatic winder won't do anything to them?
Well, I mean, I've had but before, when I had a winder, I had my Tag Heuer on it for freaking 5 years, and that thing still keeps perfect time. Never had an issue. So, but again, also when you look at the back of a winder, especially if it's a good winder, like a Wolf or whatever, they have, I mean, you have to really look up your watch and the movement and see what the rotations and what everything is. And there's different settings on the back of the winder. You have to make sure it's set appropriately, because if not, you can do damage. You have to go, there's unidirectional or bidirectional, or then sometimes they'll do one for one way and then the other. And so there's various things you can do on a winder that some watches work well and some it doesn't.
So I did just a quick Google foo. So I'm not saying that this is correct. This is just quickly. Seiko's, any watch can be, and Matt, I don't know what winder you have, but it says cheap winders often lack proper shielding of their motors and can generate a magnetic field, which we know any electric small engine motor like that can do that. And we know that Seiko's are steel watches, right? Mm-hmm. And so that makes sense. It also says overwinding, which we know, but that it could, that the excessive winding can have the clutch slip, which could be, in theory, that if that jewel wears out, you could foresee that not holding in position and allowing the gear to slip by, which would then allow quicker movement.
True. Yeah.
And then it says kinetic. Seiko watches are kinetic watches, which are different than true like winders, which I don't know that that's necessarily true. That could be AI bullshit. Yeah. But the overwinding in the clutch, that kind of makes sense to me in my mind, and of course the magnetism, we know that, but you would think that putting it on a good demagnetizer would do the trick, but who knows?
Yeah, it definitely, fixed the magnetization, but it could have been magnetized for so long that it did some other internal stuff. I'm not sure. But I do want to get it fixed though, whether I do it myself or send it off, because of all the watches, this is one that I'm definitely not going to sell. I like the SKX and I'm not going to get rid of it. So yeah, that's that thing. So I got my, what's that?
What other watches are you planning on selling?
So I had bought I had 4 Seiko Recrafts, which are basically, repurposed or brought back to market, like 70 models. And they were cool. I just didn't wear them that often. It's the 70s, a lot of brown tones, a lot of gold tones, a lot of things that very cool watches, but things I didn't really utilize. So sold all 4 of those. And then I have my JDM Seiko Green Hulk up right now. It's a Sumo. And we'll see if that sells. And then I'm also going to sell, I have Save the Ocean Great White that I'm probably going to, from the Samurai line, I'm going to sell that. And then I'll see what else is left in there. And, I may...
in our group chat of those, Matt, if you don't have them running right now.
I will. I don't have a ton of vintage stuff. I do have a 74 UFO that I may sell. And then I have like a Orange Monster from like the 90s I might sell. But we'll see. I'm throwing it there. Yeah, but that's it. Just thin in the herd.
I also want to know what your username is on eBay. If you don't want to say that on the podcast, that's fine. But
no, you can. It's mgreen 1011, I think.
I thought it was Small Green Peter. No,
I think it's mgreen 1011. I think.
All right, while you're doing that and boring the fuck out of me, let's bring up the Porsche factory reset.
That's pretty cool, dude. I mean, listen, how many times can you go through and have a car, drive the crap out of it, and if you got the money, you send it back to Porsche, and they make it brand new again.
But this isn't new news, is it? Right? Like they advertised this when they started coming out with Porsche Classics.
Yeah, I think so. I think you're right. I'm not sure why this.
Well, here's what I think is new, because this is part of the Sonderwunsch or division, and Porsche Classic has always had where you can go and get it refurbished, but I don't think they would roll back the odometer.
They do.
I'm do they?
Pretty sure. I'm pretty confident that they would if you took it to that extent.
Okay. Yes, that I wasn't sure about, because this is different than the Porsche Classic before. This is at least I think it's different. I don't know.
So does it go back to Stuttgart? Like where does it go?
So let's see here. This all sits under the Porsche Sonderwunsch division. Every mechanical brought back to its original factory spec.
Yeah, I honestly, reading the article and clicking on the other articles within the article, I'm not sure what's different than Porsche Classic, other than maybe newer vehicles. Because
that's what if you the difference was,
right?
If you click through, like, there's a 957 Cayenne. Like, I'm thinking that it's newer stuff and not just air cooled stuff. But I question it.
Even doing through 996s and
I agree.
GT.
I agree. And now the 997.1 is a Porsche Classic, so you can even have that done.
Yeah, so I don't know. Maybe this was just a marketing thing to push this out, or maybe would they do off then paint jobs through Porsche Classic? Because I know with this Sonderworks stuff, like they'll paint new liveries and stuff on there.
I think they'll paint them onto.
Yeah, Porsche Classic, you can change the color, you can change everything. So
I don't know what the fuck the difference is. It's a new marketing.
I think you hit the nail on the head. I think because everything I'm seeing about here was a Carrera GT, here was a Cayenne GTS. So I think it's basically it's same treatment but for the newer cars.
Then
so
why do you need a different name division for that stuff? Like if it's a classic, it's a classic.
Yeah.
Maybe it's rebranding of the classic division. I didn't see in the article like Porsche Classic referenced. So maybe, I don't know. Maybe this is the Bugatti money coming back in and they needed a rebranding.
Maybe. But, listen, here's what I will say about that. As a guy, well, I don't have this money, but if I did, okay, as a guy who likes to drive my shit, all right, to be able to go out and have a Carrera GT or a newer GT3 or whatever and give zero fucks about it, and just go drive the crap out of it. Yeah. And when, a couple years down the road, when I'm ready to have it as an investment and not drive because I have another new thing, and you can send it back and have everything roll back to zero, and now you have a, fresh out of the box, whatever, then it's great.
Yeah. Agreed. In
funny, I would drive my Carrera GT, and then I would be proud of the patina and the miles.
Right.
See, that's definitely part of it too, right? Up into a point, right? Like you put all that mileage on there, you're one of one. Like you, absolutely, as an individual, are one of one of putting that mileage on. And I think that we don't know him, but there's only one public person that's putting any mileage on these motherfuckers, and that's Doug Hero.
Yep,
right?
Doug.
That's fucking awesome.
Shit. That's right.
I love it. He's doing it with the Ford GT. He's doing it with this. I think it's awesome that he's putting the mileage on this stuff and showing what these cars can do. They're not just to be looked at. Porsche specifically doesn't build cars to be looked at. They build them to be driven. Yeah, Ford, we also know, does not build cars to be looked at. Even if you can go to AutoZone and get the alternator for that thing, like drive the MFR, right? Like you spent so much money on these things, and maybe since the Model 360 Ferrari cars are much more dependable, the maintenance on them is a lot less, and you see a few, if you search hard enough, internet people that have put mileage on 360s, 430s. I don't know that I've seen many of the newer than that. Yeah, like occasionally you'll see those come out with some miles, other than like Las Vegas rental cars that are beat to hell. But real people putting mileage on these things. They're wonderful cars. And, since the 2000s, at the very least, these things have been super reliable, dependable, and they should be driven.
I agree. Drive your shit. Don't worry about it.
Yeah.
If you got the money to buy that, don't buy it as an investment. Buy it to drive.
We had this discussion on or in the group chat about, even if you invested and you bought these vehicles as investments, you could have done better in basic ETFs and market funds. Mm-hmm. And so while it's fantastic to say that you own them and look at them, if you drive them, the value, it goes down. And so just sitting and looking at them is not going to help your portfolio as much as investing it properly. So
insurance and maintenance also, right? It's just
miles for smiles. That's what it's all about.
Buy what you can afford to buy and drive the fuck out of it. Like, drive it.
Yeah,
I haven't heard anything from him since the auction. I think he went to Europe and bought his castle, and I think he's living there.
Probably. Yeah. No doubt.
Power to him with that stinky hat.
When you see a picture, you immediately know the smell just by looking at it.
Patchouli and body odor.
Yeah,
I love that he's him though. So I like.
Yeah, of course.
All for it.
Genuinely them.
Absolutely. And he really is that way, man. I met him at Amelia last year.
Last year,
last year, and it just just who he is.
I think it's cool. Be who you are and live it. And he's been successful. And I love that. And he's driven more of these cars than I ever will. I'm jealous of that aspect, right? But that doesn't change the fact that he's probably a little stinky. I'm sure he's awesome.
Yeah. The last thing, I don't know who threw this in our group, whatever, and I find it interesting. It was a Reddit thread, and it says a patented manual shifter with a clutch pedal on an C8 E-Ray.
Yeah, so this is a dude out of Kentucky that is doing this, and it's his. Of course, it is. And this is I read through his thread. It's his own kit. Like he's put it together. He's trying to patent it.
Right.
And more power to him. Like make an electric car fucking cool and go for it. I think it's awesome. It figures that something like this could be done with a GM vehicle first. Like that completely makes sense. And I think it's cool. Like,
and it's straight. He is using. I mean, it is straight up a basically G2 joystick. I mean, it really does look like, you know, what you would see in, like, if you go to buy and play Gran Turismo. It's although the shifter mechanism actually looks pretty decent. I'm sure it's plastic, but the clutch pedal looks straight up like a, you know, clutch off of your.
Perfect or proven to get a patent, right? You just have
exactly right. Work on that later. Work on that later. Like video game it, make sure it works, prove it, you know, and then you can refine it, because God knows if it truly does work as advertised, there will be so many buyers. Like people will do this.
And full being honest, I'm not. We talked about this before. I'm not the biggest Corvette guy. I can appreciate them for what they are. I'm not a Corvette buyer. That being said, from watching the different videos of the guys that, you know, review these and everything, that the E-Ray is a great car. I mean, it's one of the most powerful ones they have because of the hybrid motor in it and everything. So it's freaking awesome. You know, so if you're gonna do it.
A C8, right? And I also wish from the factory they had a manual transmission in general, right? Let's forget about the electric. So
yeah,
I know there's been a lot of talk about that also, right? But that's been an interesting one, right? Between the OEM company and then Chevy like saying like no, and then the OEM company saying yes.
Yeah, I think there's definitely going to be this swap is going to happen. If it, you know, it's going to happen. We call them, you know, you call them New Balance, you know, guys and golf clubs. They got to get their golf clubs in the back. But the C8 has been out for how long now? Like 6 years now. It's still a hot fucking car. It's still like they're still changing it up with these new models. They're still like breaking records. It's still like fantastic.
Yeah.
I hate how the rear end looks.
I do too.
Every other aspect of it I think looks great. It's just that the rear end sucks.
They said right that it was baselined off of the 458. I've driven the 458 and it's awesome. So if they're mirroring that, sign me up. Yeah, that's an awesome drive.
I think the engine is amazing. I think honestly the tech of the E-Ray is amazing as well. I think they've done a great job with that from the numbers that I hear and the YouTube videos I've watched on it. So I think it's the platform in and of itself, I think is great. And I hope, you know how at least I've always said, like the C6, C7, you know, when it gets down to that $25,000, $30,000 range, it's like the most wonderful track vehicle you could ever buy, right? Because aftermarket's unlimited. You can work on it yourself, blah, blah, blah. It's cheap. You know, I don't know if the C8's ever going to get there, you know, but it is a Chevy product. The valuers are holding pretty well.
That's why I think
they make so many. Yep. And I, you know, if the C8 starts to get down to that, you know, could you imagine the $50,000-$60,000 mark? That's
40s.
Dude, I guarantee you'll be able to pick up a Z51 just Stingray.
Yeah.
The first year, whatever like that, for probably $35,000 in another couple of years.
Yeah. And you got to that's unbelievable. It's going to be kind of like the Hellcat.
Think about it this way.
Already one right now, a 2020 for sale for 52 with 48,000 miles.
Right. Dude.
I'm telling you. I mean, you look at it. You can get C5. You can get C5. So we're talking. Yeah. You can get C5. You can get C6 Z06s for less than $30,000 now.
Yeah.
I want a Z06. That 4.7 in it. That's
right. Yeah, dude. 7 liter, dude. 7 liters for freaking $30,000. I mean, come on.
That's sweet. Cam it, turbocharge it, done,
dude. I mean, like I said,
I've seen those autocross. Also, I've seen them at the track, but autocrossing, and it was an animal. It was.
Yeah. You know, I agree. I'm not like I said, we said that I'm not the biggest Corvette guy. That being said, Corvettes have a thing with Florida, man, because all the astronauts drove them, and so
I've seen Apollo 13.
Yeah, man, I'm serious. They did back in the late 60s, 70s, even going to the 80s, man, all the freaking astronauts drove Corvettes. And so I dig it. I don't know that I would own it, maybe. I take it back.
Oh.
If I was looking for a weekend vibe car, I'd buy an late 60s, early 70s Stingray.
We talked about that in our group chat.
We did, yeah. 20 grand T-tops. V8. I mean, it doesn't. They're 260 horsepower.
Really slow in emission.
Oh, they're slow. Yeah, they're slow, dude. I mean, but you know what? It's a vibe car. It's not really.
Cooler. But still, those early C3s. They had some hot ones.
Matt and Stacy in there with a LaCroix and sunglasses on.
That's it, baby. Come on, man. Got the T-tops off. Wind blowing through my little spikes.
That's fantastic.
I love it. All right, guys. Well, we're an hour in. You guys got anything else? You want to talk about before we leave?
Very hungry.
I bet you are. You look famished.
Famished, yes.
It's always fantastic
George.
to see you guys.
Yes. So we will probably not. Well, you guys can. I won't be here next week. My daughter. Listen, I don't mind sharing stuff or whatever. My daughter has a little some health issues going on. Nothing major. But she has a 5-day test next week. So I'm sure the outcome will be fine. But so I will be hanging out with her for the week. So will not be doing the podcast myself. But maybe the week after we will. So,
but on so we can talk about his rallies.
Yep. So if you guys want to do it next week while James is available, do that. Yep.
And Platica.
There you go. So perfect.
Platica.
Very cool. So, all right, fellas. Well, I will catch you guys later. And listeners, thank you very much. Grab on Instagram or the website, whiskeywatcheswheels.com. We still are there.
Find Matt's watches on eBay and buy them.
Find my watches on eBay and buy them, yes. If you're interested in any of my watches, just DM me. I went the eBay route instead of the regular Instagram route only because of the fact that although I trust everybody, for someone out there buying from someone off Instagram that may not, so I'm like, just do eBay. It's protected. Don't worry about it. So, all right, y'all. Well, we'll catch you guys later. Peace out.
Later.
See you guys.